Welcome to the Cognac Room, an uninhibited drink-infused podcast about adulting and male and female interactions.
What's that?
Pull up a chair, pour up a glass, and let's discuss.
What's happening?
Hello.
How are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I can't complain.
And here comes the question of the day.
Alrighty, people. So we are doing the question of the day right now, and since we have one on our panel, this is like a great question. So, what is one of the hardest things about being a relationship coach that you've noticed thus far?
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The hardest thing about being a relationship coach is having clients or potential clients who you see struggling, but you know they don't have the discipline that it takes to implement what you're giving them.
So you wish they had more discipline?
Yeah. It's hard because people are very impulsive and they just, I don't know, they're very impulsive and they just do things like knee-jerk reactions and they don't really think things through very clearly. They don't check on their emotions. They don't, think logically. And so it's like, whatever my emotions tell me to do, I'm going to just do it because I don't know what else to do. Some people, so ultimately, in my opinion, they don't take the advice. The hardest part is when you give people the plays and they don't run the plays. As a coach, I can't shoot for you. I can't dribble for you.
They gotta take their time, and they don't move at the same pace as you're moving. As far as you're like, oh, this is the problem. This is what you need to do to get a solution, and this is the solution. And they're they want to explore everything in the middle. I would be sure.
And you can't do that. Like, you have to have some clarity. You have to, first of all, know and determine what it is that you want. You have to be clear on what you want. That part is not as hard in my experience from what I've experienced thus far. It's pretty easy for them to know what they want. Getting them from point A to point B, getting them to follow your directions or your encouragement or whatever is hard, And it's hard because I think the big misconception is that relationship coaches give advice, and that's not in our scope of practice, for real.
It's not absolutely the truth. It's maybe some suggestions. Do you suggest?
So I think some people do suggest. I personally don't like to suggest. I'm not saying that I don't like to, but I like to help through using questions. I like to help people find their way. I like to help people have those light bulb moments to say, oh, this is what I want. If I do this, it'll get me closer. These are habits that I possibly need to break, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So I ask a lot of damn questions.
Well, if anybody who really knows you anyway knows that you ask a lot of questions. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, you're very inquisitive, very let me see how that works and how you do this and what makes this tick and why would that person have done that and all that. So he's, So you ask to figure out a method to get them to where they want to be.
Yeah. And then I have a lot of, for lack of a better term, exercises that I'll do with them or have them do.
Grown-up homework on grown-up
I
things.
give them homework. You got to give them homework.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, and, sometimes.
So I pray that you are not a relationship coach who puts your views into what the person wants.
Not at all.
I had a friend who, and this is not the same thing because you're not a therapist or whatever, buddy. But they went to a therapist and they had an issue as time went on because the therapist kept putting her personal views into what they felt the person should do. You know what
so
I'm
they
saying?
were giving advice.
They were kind of judging.
Yeah,
and things, and I thought, wow, that's very odd. Like I've never heard of that, and like because it's you're gonna as a therapist, I think you hear some crazy things,
Oh,
so you
hell
can't
yeah.
be in there going, ugh, like your mother did that, like dang, she ain't shit, like you can't.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's
You
the
can't be
thing,
in there
yeah.
doing things like that. So I thought that was really
I've heard
weird.
some wild shit.
Yeah.
I've heard some wild shit, and I, got to keep a straight face, but the beauty
Fail.
of it,
Epic fail. I'd be out. They'd be like, you know what? Click. I'd be done.
but the beauty of it is that I'm not a judgmental type person where I stand in my life today. I've made a decision not to be judgmental of others and what they do. So if you like it, I love it, sort of thing. Just tell me what you want. My job is to help you to get what you want. Yeah. Help you to be able to dig down within yourself
and navigate to
exactly.
Yeah.
So, if you want I don't know.
So if they want to, this is a question or example.
Mm-hmm.
So if they want to be in a serious relationship and they've always been afraid to take the leap or take the big step.
Yeah,
that's what you're leading towards. But if you have somebody who's like, I'm really out here and I want to live my life and I just want to be happy and I want to do what I want to do. I just need to not get caught up and have somebody stalking me because it's too good. I want to be a hoe. So if you can counsel both those people.
I can help them discover ways to date effectively. Okay. In the manner that they want to, or the manner they choose to.
One to get married and take that leap,
right.
And one to say, I'm out here in these streets.
Even if you're out here in these streets, there's an effective way and an ineffective way to do those things. There's a way to do it that is chaotic and leads to problems, and there's a way to do it to where you can enjoy it and be safe and not damage others, and So yeah,
that's cool.
Absolutely, So I mean. It's hard. It's difficult when you want to help people and they don't want to help themselves, or they lack the discipline.
They're just not ready. Yeah. And they might just be taking their time and whatever. But that's all. And
that's fine. I mean, I just want to, make sure that I'm doing what you're paying me to do.
Oh, God.
So today, I would like for us to actually have a discussion about how some people are allowing their ex to keep them from finding what it is that they're looking for, right? But the ex is doing nothing at all. They know nothing about
I'm about to be the one speaking on behalf of the ex. That ain't my shit. You over there messing stuff up. That's you. I done moved on. But
well, so here's the thing. Far too often, people are trying to move into other relationships or start dating other people when they are not ready because they're still hung up on their ex, be it you're still in love with the ex, be it you're still upset and hurt and damaged from what the ex has done. And then some people don't know. They don't realize it, right? Mm-hmm. And so I feel like a lot of times people... Okay, I'm going to say it like this. If when you think about your ex, you have negative feelings towards them, you feel hurt, you feel pain, you get triggered and start crying, like I know some people have done in times past, you need to stay out the dating pool. You are not ready.
Well, you just told all the women with an ex to probably stay out the dating pool.
It's not true because, well, okay. I get you. I get you. But in reality, probably the majority do need to just kind of hang back for a while, do some healing, get it together, and I'll regroup.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Because I know women that have done the work and they're like, I don't hold anything against him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I learned from him. And I'm able to move forward.
The main thing with an ex is, especially once you move on, no matter how many potholes you fall in, but when you get to that level ground and you get somebody that is actually the person you needed in your life and the person you wanted in your life, the person you prayed for, you have to thank the ex.
You be grateful for
because if they didn't let you go, you would have been living in misery or not living the life.
A lot of times
really
the ex doesn't
want.
let you go. You leave.
Yeah, but still, you have to thank the ex because they showed you exactly what you didn't want or what you didn't need.
Yeah.
Because even if somebody lets you go, then that shows you that you weren't worthy. You know what I'm saying? You weren't worth as much as you thought in their eyes.
Okay.
They may have had more worth to you, but to them, you weren't worth that much. So they were able to let you go for whatever reason. So, do you want somebody who feels like, I guess,
So here's the thing. Like a lot of times, a lot of people don't realize, majority of us, and I speak from my own experience, we do rebound stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, it's a bunch of rebound shit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm heartbroken over Shaquita.
Gosh, you and that girl.
Yeah, Quita, man. I can't get over her. See, I talk about her all the time. Boom, boom. Nah, but yeah. So heartbroken over Quita, but then I'm gonna run out here and mess with Sheila because Sheila looking good, and after all, I need a healthy distraction to get me over Quita.
Yeah.
But a lot of times the problem is like I know upon meeting Sheila that
you ain't ready. You
ain't
right.
ready. I know that I don't want anything long term or serious with Sheila, but because I'm in the funk, I'm just trying to put a Band-Aid on my shit, right?
Yeah.
I need somebody to sleep with. I need somebody to hang out with. And, in the back of my mind, the lie that I'm telling myself is if it progresses, then that'll be cool. And sometimes it will progress. And it's almost like, well, shit, I ain't got nothing else going on. I might as well fuck with you.
Who wants to be there? He ain't had nothing else going on. So,
but I'm not going.
I know, but
they're not going to say that.
Yeah, but
that's what it is.
I
mean, I get it.
That's some sucky shit. Like
it is.
You down the line, it's like, how y'all meet, whatever, and then they telling the story, and then they get to the part and be like, and I ain't really had nothing else going on, so I was just kicking it with her a lot. And it's like, what?
Yeah, it happens though. But I think for me, the biggest thing that I realize is that a lot of people don't understand that there are stages to the breakup.
There's definitely levels to a breakup. There's sheer anger. There's shock.
Yep.
There's despair where you are just uncontrollably emotional at anything, like at any point during the day, whatever. And what's crazy is I think people tend to look at breakups and think that there's a time limit.
Nah.
And it's the same for everybody. And like so many other things in life, it's not the same. It doesn't take everybody the same amount of time to grieve the end of a relationship. Some relationships leave you with relationship PTSD.
Damn sure right. I had a few.
And you can't move on because you triggered by every damn thing. And some relationships ending, well, you still loved each other, but it just didn't work, or somebody passed away or something like that. And that right there is super hard because it's very hard to end something with somebody you still love them.
And you know that they're still around. Yeah. Like when you know that death is so final. Yeah. That when you know that that's gone and you can't get that back, it makes it a little bit, it's harder in some ways. There's a freedom there. Yeah. There's like, okay, I can't. But then like, especially when you have the person that doesn't really want to truly let go. Yeah. And so
y'all still you like this. I ain't stick your pinky out. You like this. You like always. Did I like what they say? Did I leave my toothpicks over there? Right. I'm gonna come back and pick them up. Like you may not do anything, but it's like I just needed to see them. Yeah. I just needed to hear their voice.
And what you do is honestly, every time you do that shit, you set yourself back.
You starting over again.
You starting over.
I went 3 days, but now that I saw him, I need to see him tomorrow.
Exactly.
Or whatever. And even though it's not what you need, y'all don't have the same goals in life. You don't have the same ideals about a relationship. So many different things that you couldn't fix in that space and time. But now you can't be without each other. So odd. So odd. But again, we aren't all out here, with sex dolls, but we're all some strange creatures when it comes to love. Creatures. Like, love makes people totally different people. Like, love will make the smartest man the dumbest fool on earth.
Yeah.
And love will make the strongest woman weak as hell behind a man. Like, it's crazy, but it's just how life goes, you know. And sometimes love can come together, and I think majority of the time love comes together and it builds into something that's magnificent, you know, like wealth and you know, new homes, children, all of these things come from love. But sometimes it ain't nothing but chaos that come from love. You done came into each other's life and it ain't been nothing but a goddamn shit show.
That's facts.
Since y'all got together. But then you got a little bit of, because you get high off that. Some people, you know, they get high off that kind of interaction. And I remember you saying one time about how sometimes people don't realize, they don't feel like you love them if you aren't arguing or going back and forth, if you're not debating about this and that and whatever. Like, they don't feel love because it's like, well, we actually just having normal days. Ain't nobody yelled. You ain't, you know, got your attitude and flare it up or whatever. So you ain't passionate, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
And so there are certain stages of mourning a breakup. Yeah. Right? That people go through, whether you realize it or not. It has nothing to do with you intelligibly understanding what you're going through. Yeah. These are the processes. Psychologists have sat down and done the research and played in people's heads and figured this shit out, right? And so it's like mourning a death, an actual death, because it is the death. It is a death. It is the death of a relationship, and it is the death of that person as you knew them. Yeah. Because a lot of times, as I said, sometimes on Instagram or whatever, like that person that you loved, once they've done certain things and once they no longer want to be with you, that is not the person that you once loved. That's a different version of that person.
It is.
And the person that you knew, the person that you actually want to be in the relationship with, they are dead and gone.
Yep. They're gone.
And so you have to mourn that death the same way you would mourn the loss of a spouse, which I'm sure you can give plenty of insight into that.
Yeah. I mean, even if, I think when you have a spouse that you lose or whatever, it's totally different. Because like you say, losing somebody and you know they still live a town over and you can always see and talk to them, as opposed to losing them and they're gone forever. There's no physical touch and sounds of voices and things of that nature that can come to you. No, you can't just call them for a conversation, because a lot of people, especially if you've been together for a while, but you just, and I know you don't agree with this, grown apart or whatever, they remain friends. And so you still have a love. Like, sometimes I know people who've not been together for a while, but they have such a connection that, like, if they need something, that person is the first person that's there for them or whatever, because they, you know, they're kind of like some besties or something like that. So even in that kind of situation, to lose them and them not be here, it's a whole nother level. And people who look on often feel like moving on should be something that happens 5 years down the line.
It does happen. But so here's the thing about the whole situation. Grieving the loss of a loved one, especially a spouse, has got to be probably the most extreme case of mourning a breakup. Or the loss of a loved one. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Of a relationship.
Of a relationship. Yes, it definitely is. Because most of the time, that's not how you lose.
Right. Yes, that's the that's the
extreme.
That's the extreme, and it's kind of rare. But also, I feel like when we go through breakups, like, see, I don't think you've ever really, have you been through a breakup where you were like, kind of like it was hurtful and painful and you were just kind of like, God damn, like,
yeah.
Okay. So the first stage is kind of like,
shock,
anger.
Shock then anger. I feel like
anger, because you're pissed off, you're mad, be it because she actually, you know what, I'm wrong. Let me correct that. It's denial. So Jerome comes to you and says,
always somebody I know.
Jerome comes to you and says, it's not you, it's me.
Of course, right?
You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to do this anymore.
But come to me and say it's not me, it's you. Like, I just don't like you. I don't really want to fuck around with you no more. Tell me the truth. Don't tell me it's not you, it's me. It's not me, it's you.
I get it.
I don't want to be with you.
I don't want to be with you.
Yeah.
I don't like you snore too loud for a little woman.
Exactly.
Something crazy.
I feel like that was shade.
Do you snore?
Loud.
Oh shit.
Loud. Loud. A lot.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I snore too. Join the club. Okay. So anyway, but then you're like, well, what's wrong? You're shocked. You don't really know what to expect. You were blindsided or whatever. And so the first thing that your first thoughts in the first few days are, well, he's gonna change his mind. He's gonna get home. He's gonna think about the great times that we've had and this, that, and the third, and he's gonna change his mind. He's gonna miss me, and he's gonna change his mind. He's gonna, he's gonna get horny, and he's gonna change his mind. He's gonna go out with his boys, or he's gonna go on a date with someone else and realize that she's not me, and he's gonna change his mind. These are the hopefuls, hopeful moments. So you're in denial because you're saying, we can get back. It's not really over. That's the denial stage, right? Yeah. I think everybody has experienced that shit.
Women.
Right. For normal women.
Some not normal.
Well, some, yeah.
I just be like, all right.
Yeah, but even then, I think, even though you might not vocalize it, but deep down inside, you're hoping.
Yes, I'm sliding down the wall.
You're hoping that it does.
Yeah, but
pan out or work itself.
Yeah, but yeah, it's definitely more internalized.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm not even saying that you're having these discussions with anybody, but inside yourself, these are the thoughts that you're having. Oh, he's gonna, he gonna miss me. And then when the phone rings or you get a text message, deep down you hoping it's that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, you always hoping it's them. Yeah. Even if you hoping it's them, so you can cuss them the fuck out, but you don't want them. Like you always want it to be them.
And because sometimes for those of us who practice restraint and say, well, I'm not gonna reach out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So you're hoping that they'll initiate contact first, so that you don't have to break. You know what I mean?
And even if you know that you want it, you just want them to make the first step.
Exactly.
So
yeah. And so that whole denial thing is like, well, I maybe and hopefully and this and that, and so this is the time at which one is most likely to do some late night texting and some drunk texting and all of that kind of stuff because.
Yeah, and then him coming back just because you like, oh, he gonna get horny. That just mean he just want to screw and it's familiar, and I ain't got to go out here.
The hope is that that'll be enough to reel him back in.
Yeah, and
sometimes it is.
Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's disastrous.
It's temporary
because you don't really address the problem.
Exactly.
You don't address the problem, whether it be with yourself or whatever you guys have going on between you. When you just try to gloss over whatever the issue is, or we just not gonna talk about the way you stomped out, packed all your stuff, called my mama, told us she ain't raised a shit child, all of those type of stuff, and then you come back and get together and you sleep together, and then you just like, so you want to eat breakfast, and then you eventually start moving your stuff back in. When you go back to whatever your normal is, whenever you have another disagreement, you're gonna end up basically bringing all of that stuff up because why'd you come back if you didn't really want to be here? So now even though you went along with it without addressing it and talking about the elephant in the room, now you want to throw that up in their face.
Exactly.
And it's just
it's real deal.
Yeah, it's not.
That's the real deal. But then it's like, because that's the most time when when a woman is gonna hit you with that. I just think it's funny how that's when you're gonna get that message, or I've gotten this one. Oh, so you really you for real about it? Like you really, you know what I'm saying? Like this is for real? You really doing this shit? That sort of thing. And what's the hope is that, and I've done it as a man. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I haven't.
You've done what?
I've sent the message that was kind of like, oh, you must want to be with somebody else. That's what this is about. Yeah. You just want, because I can't wrap my head around the fact that this shit is really over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it ain't really over. You just want to go and do what you want to do, but she gonna come back.
Why do we always think the other person just really wants to go screw?
Well,
somebody.
I'll be honest with you. As crazy as this is going to sound, it saves the ego in a sense.
I was going to say,
so it's like it's a blow to the ego.
Is it easier? Than
but it's easier to believe
problems?
That you just want to go and do what you want to go and do than it is to believe that there's something about me that you just really don't want. For real. Like I am something or someone that doesn't serve you in any way, and that you're over this shit and you're done with me and you threw me away like trash, because that's kind of how some people,
and you know what, some
internalize
people
it
trash
and view it.
Trash is somebody else's treasure. They'll fix it up and have it goddamn sold for $1 million. So somebody put it on the curb and they only paid $25. So sometimes sometimes it's okay to be trash to somebody. Like again, like thank your ex for letting you go. Sometimes. But thank your ex for letting you go.
Which then that's where the anger comes in. The next stage is anger. So now you over the denial, you realize this shit is over. I think it's really over. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, oh, you ain't shit. You gonna do all I did for you. Come on, man. We all have had the conversations. Yeah. We know the conversations. Yeah. You know,
you reflect on everything that you let slide and you didn't let them go.
Yeah. You're being selfish.
Yeah. All of that stuff. All the times you compromise when you really didn't want to. All the times you helped them when nobody else would help them, and all of that stuff, you start to say that you were, the saving grace in every way. And there may be, in a lot of situations, it is like that. It is very,
maybe not.
One side. Yeah, no, I'm not saying every. I said in a lot of situations it is that way. But
then you showing up at the other girl's job, like whenever he might have just met the girl and say, hey, let's go on a movie date, and now you see him. I he with it. I caught him with her. I'm going to beat her. Pull a wig off. Like, come on now. That's part of that angry phase, though.
I think that's also the class of woman. Because before I do all of that, I'm going to walk past you. I may speak, hey, how y'all doing, whatever, and I'm gonna walk past you and I'm gonna go on. Now I ain't saying.
If nothing else, there may be some words though.
Nah, I'm gonna let you know I see you. Hey, how you doing? Mm-hmm. Like, okay. So that way she can see me too. Mm-hmm. It's according to what you got on. Because if you ain't right, because if you in cortex, she gonna rip you apart. So don't speak.
If you in sweats and shit,
it's according to how you look in sweats.
Well, yeah. So I mean, if you looking like you've been working on the house,
that's what I'm saying. It's according to how you look in sweats.
If you look like you've been hanging sheetrock.
It
ain't going down.
But it's according, because little do she know, he might love when I look like that. That might have been his favorite shit, because deep down he liked to fix stuff or whatever. So when it was like that, I knew I was getting some. So if I got on my
you got some spackle on your face. Exactly. Come here, girl.
If I got on my sheetrock clothes and a little paint on the end of my chin, I know he see me. Okay. He might not be coming back, but he see me.
Yeah, that's not going to entice me. I'm sorry.
Well, that's because that's not who you are. But we just making an example.
No, I get it.
I'm definitely not. First of all, we are not a 18 to 21 year old podcast.
No,
and we ain't 21 to 26 where you still might be like, I'll beat a bitch ass over a man.
Nah, there's no age limit on that shit.
Yeah, because there's a level of disrespect you have to get to at this age to get somebody to lay hands on you. That it's got to be way more than we broke up. Like you left me or whatever, and I see you with them. Like you got to have done something to the children. You have to have brought them around the children or something. It's got to be a little bit deeper before we feel like putting hands. So it's kind of like like you might get in the car. And you have to pull up a little bit to make sure they ain't coming out too and cry your ass off in the car. But I ain't about to be acting up, and I ain't about to be going to no woman's job, because why would you even do that?
Well, women do it, but
why?
After that,
yeah, why are we doing that?
Because some people, when you're angry, and you misdirected anger is something that happens every single day.
I get it.
So, and then there might not necessarily be a fisticuffs.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I'm not gonna say a fisticuff because that sounds crazy.
Nah, there may not end up being a fisticuffs. There might not end up being a big argument or anything like that. but you're gonna tell everybody how crazy this motherfucker is.
You need to handle it like brown sugar.
Like, listen, dude, listen. I knew he was crazy.
My divorce. That's how you need to handle it.
I knew he was
Richard
crazy
Lawson.
when he did so and so and such and such. You know what I'm saying? And you may send hateful messages. You may sit around and tell your people how much you hate him, how you hope she do him the way he did you. Like,
Definitely.
All
Definitely
of that. That's the angry phase.
Yeah, definitely.
But here's the thing: you have to go through this process. Everybody who has gone through a breakup, even the ones who have initiated the breakup, go through that moment where they doubt their decision to end the relationship. So it's still some denial in that, right?
We need to take a poll on that. Like, if you initiate the breakup, like, did you always have that moment where you felt like maybe I made the wrong choice? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I've talked to many people, men and women alike, who have that moment. I mean, I'm not gonna say everybody has that moment.
Like, no, I just want to.
But but then you have to understand like what led up to the breakup, because a lot of times it could be a situation where there were indiscretions that led up to this final blow, and it's like, man, you know what? I don't even care no more. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it could be a situation where it's like, like I just don't feel the magic.
Yeah.
I just don't feel that spark with this person. Yes, we've been together. Yes, we've gotten along. I've been in that situation when a motherfucker told me like, dude, we've been together for a while. We get along. The sex is good, but I just don't feel that spark. I feel like there's something more fitting for me out here.
Yeah, and that's true.
And so it's just like, okay, I guess. But then when I hit the angry phase, my conversation was, when the grass ain't greener,
but you know what?
You don't come back. You can't.
People always say that the grass ain't always got to be green. Like, I might want to mudslide. Like, I might want to start doing things differently. And
mudslide ain't gonna work though.
But you never know. You never know, because can you imagine like somebody who basically, and I'm saying literally, living in the city and all of this stuff, and they're doing the 9 to 5 or whatever, and they decide, you know what, I can't do this no more, and they leave the person, and the person says the grass ain't greener on the other side. Then they go out and they, move to a farm. They start farming. They muddying, and they be like, the grass ain't greener. I don't even need grass. This, like, literally, it's just, it wasn't me and you. I needed something different.
Yeah.
That's it. I only want grass. I want beach.
I get that. But and maybe you're right, and maybe that's going to work, and maybe not, and maybe
and I'm not
you'll
saying for
come back
everybody,
later.
For some people, yeah.
Not you, but I'm saying in general, a person will come back later and realize. But then that's the chance you take. Like, you're gonna have to deal with that shit.
When you decide you want to let somebody go, you take a chance on them finding their happily ever after.
Exactly. But you know how many people did that shit and tried to come back and say, I was just telling a guy about this today, as a matter of fact. Quick little story. Story time.
All right, like to hear it, here it go.
I was working at the hospital. I was dating this young lady. I think I may have even told the story in one episode before. Mm-hmm. She had a kid, kind of like a newborn, like an infant. And she had been dating this guy that was her baby daddy. Mm-hmm. Baby daddy.
Her child's father.
Child's father. So anyway, she had been dating this guy. And so I worked at the hospital. She worked at the hospital. And his mother worked at the hospital. So his mother is feeding him information. Like, yeah, she been hanging out with this dude. And he was over there and whatever. And I think, whatever. So he comes up to the job with his boy. And I guess they decided they were going to jump me.
Yeah.
I told you this, right?
I think you did tell us.
Yeah. So, long story short, man, I'm leaving the hospital. They out there. Hey, bro, let me talk to you. I wasn't stopping, but I wasn't running. I calmly walked to the car, opened my door, and got inside. I didn't have anything in there, but I'm like, well, maybe if I'm in the car, they'll think twice about, you know what I'm saying? Which they did, but the one guy, he had his hands in his pants, and I just drove off or whatever. So right after that, the girl tells me some shit about how, she's just undecided. She doesn't really know what she wants to do. She wants him. She wants, in a perfect world, she would like for her father to be in her daughter's life.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So she said, can you just give me a little bit of time to think about it? I'm like, sure. Because what am I going to say? Hell no.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Sure. But during that time, I met somebody that worked at the hospital that I had my eye on since the first day. So I was like, ooh, okay, well, get what? You know what I'm saying? We moving different now. So then she wanted to come and talk to me. She was like, well, I know you're a good guy, and I've decided too late, sweetheart.
She obviously was not a good judge of character.
Well, no, I was a good guy. I was a good guy. I just like to screw other women at the time, but I was a good guy. Okay. So anyway, that didn't,
Yeah, you can't really.
It didn't work out for her.
Expect somebody to. You can't put someone on hold and expect them
to wait.
To really sit there and wait.
I wasn't going to do that, especially when I saw that I had better options.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Here you are with
a newborn.
Yeah. And you're not a bad looking female, but you, in my opinion, you kind of have a wandering eye. You don't really know where you want to be because you looking at Mandrell all night and shit like that.
Oh, okay.
But and I mean that happens, man. Women are women, and some of them do shit like that. I mean, whatever. So what I will say though is that I had a better option. I had a more attractive woman who I actually had a better connection with, who I enjoyed sex with better, who was more available, and it was all about me. And she didn't have any children, and it was just a better fit for my life at that particular time, right? Mm-hmm. So to try to come back, it was kind of like, yeah, nah, man. And I felt good because I was like, you asked for this. I gave you
what you wanted. Like I didn't break up with you.
You can't even be mad at me.
Do anything towards you. But that's the strange thing is that people will still be mad at you for giving them exactly what they want.
Well, guess what?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But once again, like I refuse to take responsibility for that. That was you. That was your choice, your decision, your emotions. You keep that over there. You're not going to project that onto me. You're not going to lay blame to me for none of that.
Yeah.
But another phase of the breakup process is bargaining. So I remember specifically being in situations where I try to bargain to get the person back by trying to show them how successful I've become, or that that's like when the guy say, I went to church today and got saved, baby. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He trying to do and say whatever.
I started therapy. I got my food stamps in line, everything.
Babe, I went and got a psychiatrist. I got my meds.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be all right now, baby. That cheating bone, they gonna take that out Thursday.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, but everybody does it. Women might not do it that way.
I think women do it as well.
But they don't do it in that manner. No, I don't think in that manner.
No, because what women do typically is, I'm gonna give you sex and I'm gonna give you mind blowing. Now we can screw on the counter, we can screw in the car, we can screw everywhere. I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna show up to your job with the trench coat and everything.
I'm gonna give you all three.
Yeah, and then now it's like, okay, you back.
Yeah.
Moo once a week.
Yeah.
Every 2 weeks.
It's yeah.
And now I got you
bullshit.
back. So I think, we definitely use our feminine wiles to maneuver more so than other things.
Right. Oh, you gonna do? Because I remember I tried to use my daughter one time. I want my daughter to have both her parents in the same house. How you gonna do this to me?
She was like, you wasn't thinking about that when you was out there.
When I was out there, yeah. Was you thinking about that when you was jumping up and down?
Yeah, because you had the same daughter. Yeah,
exactly. So but those were some of the things.
That.
And then I remember going through depression. Depression is one of the five phases. It's like the next one right before you get to acceptance.
Yeah.
And so I remember, like, I'm just gonna be real here. I would come home and I would think about this particular female that I was breaking up with had broken up with me, and I'd gone through all my phases and I tried bargaining and that wasn't working, and then I sunk into a depression. So I'd come home and I'd masturbate thinking about her, and then I'd cry. True story.
I don't even know.
True story. Listen, we're about transparency here.
Yeah, and that was as transparent as you get right there. I'm masturbating, I'm going to cry about it.
And then I call her. And I say,
wow.
If you just give me one last, I promise you, I'll be the best. And this shit went on, if I'm honest, this shit went on for years.
What?
This shit went on for years. Like in between relationships, and sometime while in other relationships, I would be like, I just want to try to be the man that I'm supposed to be. Just give me one more shot. This shit went on for years. And she told me, she said, dude, she said, I love you and I'll always love you and we will always be friends, but I cannot and I will not ever give you another chance.
You obviously had fucked up good.
But see, that's something I had what?
Fucked up good.
Yeah, real good. Like my grandma used to say.
That's why I was channeling your grandmother.
Yes, big time. Mm-hmm. But also, I think it's important to note that a lot of times with that situation, specifically that situation, it was one of those things where had she given me another chance, it got to a point that it wasn't about her. It was about winning. Yeah. It was about getting my way, getting back in. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you have to be real careful with that too. The ego was play like a motherfucker.
Exactly. It's like, what she mean she don't want me back? She not going to take me back this time? Like, what do you mean? Like, even though I done did all these things to her or whatever, what she mean she going to leave me? Or what? How dare she keep throwing that up in my face? Right. Like when I keep telling her I'm sorry and I would do better. And
then you think about all the time she done slid down the wall, chased your car, grabbed you by the ankles or whatever, right? And I mean, I'm not saying that to be funny, but what?
Who the fuck was doing?
That happened.
Never.
That happened.
Grab nobody by the ankles.
That happened.
Stop them to leave.
Hid my shoes, hid my keys, anything to keep me from going. So you think about those times and you're like, well, okay, so now I know how did we get from here to here? But you just don't realize like this person just tired of your shit.
And you don't realize how wrong somebody has done you. Yeah. Until you sit down and tell somebody outside of the relationship. Because you endured everything bad that happened in that relationship. So you like, he did this, he did that, whatever. But then when you sit down and you tell somebody else and you realize how awful it sounds or how much you put up with or whatever, sometimes you can't go back based off of that, because if it's just me and you talking about it, you can brush something to the side. Yeah, I did cheat on you. Yeah, I did leave. But I always came back. I always kept you on the side because, I really love you. I wouldn't do that to you, whatever. But it's then when you can have that conversation with that person and be like, yeah, I guess, and and be in it and still feel validated. Right. But then when you go out there and you tell that story to, a family member or your friends or something or whatever, and you hear it coming out your mouth like, yeah, they cheated on me and then they did this and then they did that. And so I was okay with it because it is, but yeah, and then you be like, and you see them looking at you or giving you all of the what the fuck, and
I was a fool.
Yeah, and I would never and all that, and then you like, okay, you know what?
Maybe I really should
endured way more than I needed to. Maybe I stayed way longer than I should have, or whatever. Not because you need to be believing and using outside influences to fix your inside relationship, but sometimes you need to hear it from somebody with a fresh pair of ears and eyes.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know all of the other backstory and whatever. They just know that one human shouldn't do this to another human.
And you shouldn't be allowing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, not to say, because I've said it on here several times, I believe.
Well, not to say should or shouldn't, but it's not a good idea or a good practice to allow it.
Now, you don't have to let anybody continually do things to you that you do not like. Right. Period. Whether, it is, staying out all night, cheating, spending excessive amounts of money, or whatever it is harming your relationship, and you keep, okay, I'll fix it. Okay, I'll fix it. It's all right. I'll do it. I'll deal with it. You shouldn't have to continuously deal with something that you don't like. Period. Point blank. I don't care what it is in a relationship. If you can't get to a point where you both can work it out because this is bothering you, it's something that hurts you, it's something that makes you emotional or makes you want to leave the relationship ultimately, and you can't talk to them about it or whatever, and they can't meet you halfway, it's probably time for you to go anyway. I think we are definitely people who overstay our welcome just because it's easy.
Yeah. It's convenient.
It's convenient.
You know, it's easy.
We know what to expect
and
everything. And so
predictable.
sometimes we don't get, that happily ever after or that dream life that we want because we have stayed too long in the trenches.
Yeah. So I say this, also a part of that desperation phase, that's the phase in which people actually feel hopeless and take their own lives or go out and try to take their person's life.
Or they go out there and they latch on to the first thing they see is a crackhead with sheer crackhead sign. Like, you know it ain't no good. Like, they stole your purse the first night you met them, but you done locked in with this person just because you need to have somebody.
Yeah.
And that's
that
they
desperation.
made you feel like they needed you.
Exactly.
And so you fell for anything because you're so desperate to be loved.
And the final phase is acceptance. You know what I mean? That's the phase in which people are able to make peace with the loss and accept it and
thank your ex.
And thank your ex and just move on and normalize their new life. Embrace their new normal.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like and be hopeful of the future.
Yeah.
Right? But to the point that about the ex holding you back from getting what you deserve and what you want in life and moving on with the next person, what happens is you get stuck in one of these phases of the breakup. And it takes longer than usual. Maybe you camp out there, you build a fire, you make your bed, you know what I'm saying?
At it way too long.
Way too damn long. And then you try to move on, but you haven't gone through the grief, the grieving of this relationship. You haven't properly grieved that relationship.
You haven't properly laid it to rest.
You haven't properly laid it to rest. And so now you're with Bobby, but you're not completely with him because you still lay in bed shivering at night thinking about the other cat. Or because when he crosses your mind, you drop a tear in the bathroom.
Yeah, you're still so consumed with them.
And you have trust issues with this guy because of what that one did. So,
you have trust issues with that guy because of what you're doing. Because you know that you're thinking about somebody else. So it's like, I know you thinking about somebody else. If I'm doing it, I know you doing it. You have an ex or whatever, and your relationship might have been ended closer to when me and you got together. I've been out of the game for 6 months, but you only been out of the game for 3 months. So if I'm still thinking mine, you thinking about yours. Which is why
so many people are like, don't want you talking to your ex. Because trust me, when a person has made peace with their breakup and they're cool and they're just like, hey, we're cool or whatever, they don't really mind so much because they understand that I talk to my ex from time to time, talk to my ex or my, his children. And sometimes we'll have a conversation. There's nothing there. I don't want them. They don't want me. But when you've been somebody that kind of still holding on to shit and feeling shit,
you like, you'll go back.
You'll go back.
Yeah.
Why are you talking to her? You're not supposed. My man. Or the guy. What you doing? You might think I'm stupid. I ain't gonna. What?
You might think I'm stupid. Yeah. That's all of that. Because all of the phases, all of the thoughts that you have, like, it's crazy how somebody can keep you up at night and they ain't nowhere near you. They ain't around you. They ain't talk to you or nothing. You ain't slept.
They ain't thinking about your ass.
You ain't slept a good 8 hours in 3 months.
You can't enjoy, and I've been here. This has really happened. I couldn't really enjoy sex with my person because I'm thinking about who clapping her cheeks.
Because you still consumed.
And that's the thing. So, and that shit spills over in different areas and aspects of the relationship. And then that one doesn't work. And so now you just pile whatever trauma and
so now you got
residue.
You got the one you really loved. Then I didn't even care about this bitch, but she had the nerve to leave me.
Right. Like, and now you go to the next one. It's like walking with corpses on your back.
All that baggage.
You got dead people on your damn back. And you come in and here you come, stinking up the fucking place. And you cold and callous.
And wondering why things don't work, wondering why they won't follow.
Right.
Why you can't lead and they won't, because you can't lead. You've been spinning in circles.
On
the floor in your behind like a child for 2 years.
Yeah.
But you came into this relationship, they saw something in you. You came into this relationship and now you like, I want you to follow me. And it's like, I don't want to go in circles.
Bingo.
I don't want to go in circles. It's not that the woman won't follow you, but I need you to be leading me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not leading me anywhere because you're not clear of all of your paths. You're not sure of what your path is because you're at a place right now where if you could step out that circle and go back to that one, you would go back. But yet you could also spin out of that circle and come on with me and we can make a new life. But you aren't sure what you want to do, so you rather just keep spinning.
Mm-hmm. There's a quote that says, grieving is like digestion. There's nothing you can do to hurry it along. It takes time, and the only thing you can do is try to get through it. But take heart in the fact that this, like everything else, will eventually pass. Mm-hmm. And that's the truth.
And don't let anybody put their time frame on your grief.
But you gotta be willing to go through the process.
Yeah,
you gotta
go
stop
through the process.
Trying to put Band-Aids on it and
it's
dress
been a
it
week.
up.
You should be fine. Like he left last week.
Like no, and literally it could be he left last year. But if you are still dealing with those things and you're still processing and you're still grieving and you're still in one of those stages of grieving and mourning that relationship, worry about yourself.
Selfish. Keep taking that time.
Work
keep
on
working
yourself.
on yourself. Keep doing that self-care because that's what you need.
Yeah. And I have a actual video that talks about how to get over breakup easier. It's on YouTube at the Cognac Room Podcast. Go over there and check it out. Also, we air every Thursday night on Grind City TV, every Friday night on Diva Speaks Network.
And all episodes can be found on YouTube.
All the episodes can be found on YouTube. That's right. And what else? Some more shit.
No, Mind Your Motivation is now here.
Yes, I have a motivational podcast called Mind Your Motivation. There's one episode up right now. By the time you guys see this, there'll be another episode up. Most episodes are going to be between the 12 and 20 minute mark. So definitely go over there and check that out. Get your daily dose of your weekly dose of motivation on Mondays. And I think that's it. You want to give a shout out or give your Instagram handle or anything out so your stalkers
Slim
can come
Kid
through?
666. I don't get stalkers. I might get some requests, but I don't get stalkers. I really need to open up my page, as a lot of people say. But actually doing this, you get a lot of hate as much as you get a lot of love. And sometimes, if I'm just gonna be honest, I ain't ready. I ain't ready for it. And y'all ain't about to have me up here crying and snotting and coming on here and telling y'all about yourself because I felt some way because somebody came to me in a negative manner one day and I feel like I need to speak on it or whatever. So as of right now, you send me a request and I definitely can tell when it's people who are genuinely fans of the podcast, and I definitely will let you in. But it's all about the Cognac Room. We're just trying to make this bigger and better. If you got suggestions, if you have any comments, whether they're good or bad, rate us, like, follow, share, comment. Please comment because that's where we get our content from.
Exactly. When you comment, ask questions.
Yes,
we will give you what you want.
Tabernacle.
We will give you what you want. All right. Well. In the words of Russell Simmons.
God bless y'all and good night.
And good night.